Okay, welcome to the deep dive. This is where you bring us your sources, your research, basically whatever you've got. And we dive deep to pull out the key insights for you.
Exactly. We cut through the noise, find the important stuff, and try to make sense of it all.
Think of it as turning that data dump into actual understanding.
Yeah, we're looking for the connections, the aha moments hidden in the information.
And today we're tackling a market that's, well, fundamental to keeping smiles healthy everywhere, but maybe not something you think about much. The global dental cement market.
Right. We've got an excerpt here from a market report, Cognitive Market Research. It's pretty dense, actually. Got market size, growth trends, drivers, restraints, the works, segments, regions, all of it.
So our mission for this deep dive, let's unpack those key numbers, figure out why this market's moving, what the big trends are, and, what this little niche tells us about dentistry overall.
It's a good window into how dental care is changing. And the report gives us a solid time frame. Data from 2021, looking ahead to 2033. 2024 is the base year, and 2025 is the estimate for right now.
Okay, let's get into it. The big picture first. How big are we talking? Market size now, and where's it headed?
All right, so for 2025, the estimate is USD 974 million globally.
Wow, almost $3 billion for dental cement. That's actually more than I'd have guessed.
It really adds up. It's used in so many different procedures.
Right, and it's growing.
Oh, yeah. The forecast by 2033 is USD 571.8 million.
Over $5 billion. Okay, that's some serious growth in, what, 8 years? What's the rate on that?
They're projecting a compound annual growth rate, a CAGR of 6.9% between 2025 and 2033.
6.9%. That's pretty healthy, isn't it, for this kind of market? Shows strong demand.
Definitely. Indicates something's really pushing it forward.
So what is pushing it? What are the main drivers the report points to?
Well, there are a couple of big ones. First, and this might sound a bit old school, is the ongoing popularity of zinc phosphate cement.
Zinc phosphate. Really? That sounds like it's been around forever.
It has. But it's still a go-to, especially for things like cementing permanent metal crowns, bridges, orthodontic bands, places where you need serious long-term hold.
Huh. So reliability trumps novelty sometimes.
Exactly. It's known for its high strength when it's mixed right. The report even cites some recent-ish articles, 2022, saying it's still widely used and often the benchmark other cements are compared against.
Okay, so the trusty workhorse is still pulling its weight. It makes sense for foundational stuff. What's the other big driver?
The other one is, well, simply more people needing dental work worldwide.
Right. More cavities, gum disease, tooth loss, that kind of thing.
Precisely. And that means more fillings, more crowns, more bridges, more implants, all needing cement.
And that ties into demographics, I bet. Aging population.
You got it. The report links it directly to the aging global population. Older people just tend to have more dental issues, need more restorative work.
Simple math, really. More need equals more demand for the materials.
Yeah. And it's not just age. The report also mentions that improvements in the cements themselves are helping. Newer materials, like bioactive ones or advanced resins, they work better, they look better.
Ah, so better materials make treatments more appealing.
Right. Plus, people are generally more aware of oral health now, and there's this whole boom in cosmetic dentistry. Veneers, whitening, aesthetic crowns. People want nicer smiles, not just functional teeth.
And those cosmetic procedures, they need good cement too, right? For bonding veneers and things.
Absolutely. And then layer on top the fact that dental clinics and services are just expanding globally. More access means more treatment, means more cement used.
Okay, so we've got Old Faithful zinc phosphate, plus rising need from aging and awareness and innovation in materials and cosmetic demand. Seems like a strong growth picture, but surely there are hurdles. What holds it back?
The big one mentioned is cost. The high cost of dental treatments.
Yeah, tell me about it. Dental bills can be rough.
Exactly. And it's the whole package, right? Not just the cement. It's the dentist's time, the lab fees, the technology involved. The report notes that even with insurance, a lot of advanced restorative or cosmetic stuff isn't fully covered.
Leaving patients with big out-of-pocket costs.
Yep, which can be a major barrier, especially for folks in lower or middle-income brackets. Access becomes an issue. And the report adds that in developing nations, you also have infrastructure issues compounding the cost problem.
It's a good reminder that even for a specific product like cement, the wider healthcare economics are crucial. So, okay, costs are a drag, but the market is still changing. What are the key trends shaping it?
One huge trend is the rise of digital dental technology.
You mean like CAD/CAM, 3D printing for crowns and stuff?
Exactly that. CAD/CAM systems, 3D printers,
Hmm.
they're becoming much more common for making restorations. And these digital workflows, they demand cements that are compatible with the new materials, like zirconia or certain ceramics, and that work well with that level of precision.
So the tech is forcing the cement materials to evolve too.
Pretty much. It's
Yeah.
also pushing towards materials that are more biocompatible, maybe even greener, more environmentally friendly.
Interesting. Technology driving material science. What's the other big trend?
It's that increasing interest in cosmetic dentistry we touched on earlier. It's not just a driver, it's a major trend reshaping things.
And that's tied to like social media, wanting to look good.
Yeah, the report links it to things like social media influence, people being more conscious of aesthetics, and also the availability of less invasive cosmetic options. Veneers, aesthetic crowns, bridges, just for looks. They're way more common now.
Right.
And this creates a specific demand. You need cements that bond really strongly, but also look great, match the tooth color perfectly.
So performance and aesthetics.
Exactly. And dental tourism fits in here too. People traveling for affordable cosmetic work. That adds to the global demand. This trend is leading to specific product development, like they mentioned SHOFU, dental, bringing out something called Butilink SA, just recently, July 2024. It's a cement specifically for zirconia restorations.
Ah, zirconia. That's super popular for crowns now, right?
Yeah,
Very strong and looks good.
right. So that product launch is a direct response to this cosmetic high-tech trend.
That makes perfect sense. Okay, let's slice this market up. How does it break down by, say, product type, permanent versus temporary cements?
Okay, so permanent cements, they're the dominant segment by
Yeah.
far. Used for things you want to last, right?
Mhm.
Crowns, bridges, inlays, orthodontics.
Yeah, the long haul stuff.
Exactly. So their dominance is just tied to the basic need for durable repairs. They rely on strong materials like resin cements or glass ionomers.
Okay, and temporary cements, just a small piece.
Smaller overall, yes, but interestingly, they're the fastest growing segment by product type.
Really? Why is that?
They're used for, temporary crowns while a permanent one is made, or maybe trying out veneers. The growth seems linked to more procedures becoming multi-step, needing interim solutions. Plus, dentists and patients like temps that are easy to put on and take off. Patient comfort is a big factor.
Huh. Faster growth on the temporary side.
Hmm.
That says something about how treatments are evolving. Okay, how about materials? What's the most common stuff?
Glass ionomer cements, or GICs. They hold the largest share right now.
And why GICs? What's their advantage?
They're kind of workhorses too. Biocompatible, versatile. A big plus is they release fluoride.
Oh, right, helps prevent decay around the filling or crown.
Exactly. Protects against secondary caries. And they bond well to the tooth itself. Traditional GICs are really common in kids' dentistry and for patients who are at high risk for cavities.
Versatile and protective. Got it. And the fastest growing material?
That would be the hybrid or resin-modified glass ionomers, RMGICs.
Okay, so mixing GIC with resin, best of both worlds.
That's the idea. You get the fluoride release and biocompatibility from the GIC part, but the resin adds better strength, better wear resistance. They don't dissolve as easily.
Making them tougher, suitable for more places.
Yeah, they handle stress better, so you see them more in back teeth for cementing permanent crowns, ortho brackets, and they usually look better aesthetically than the traditional GICs. So, yeah, their adoption is growing fast.
Makes sense. Combine the benefits. The report listed others too. Zinc oxide eugenol, the zinc phosphate we talked about, polycarboxylate, composite resins. But GIC and RMGIC sound like the main story now.
They definitely seem to be shaping the current market dynamics, yeah.
Yeah.
The solid base of GIC and the fast rise of RMGIC.
All right, so who's actually using all this cement? The end users.
No surprise here, dental clinics have the biggest share.
Yeah, that figures. That's where most people go.
Absolutely. Clinics do everything from checkups to complex stuff, cosmetic work. They just perform the vast majority of procedures that need cement. So their dominance is tied directly to the volume of dental work happening globally.
Okay. And the fastest growing end user.
That's dental ambulatory surgical centers,
Yeah.
ASCs.
So outpatient centers doing more complex dental surgeries.
Right. They focus on specialized procedures, often more efficiently and maybe cheaper than a hospital setting. Their growth is driven by, well, more complex dental problems needing surgery. And these centers often jump on new tech and materials, faster high-performance cements, advanced resins, RMGICs.
Interesting. So specialization and efficiency driving ASC growth. The report also mentioned hospitals and academic research places, but clinics and ASCs seem to be the main action.
Yeah, they're where the bulk of the patient-facing cement application happens.
Okay, let's pull back the lens. Global view. Where's the market biggest right now, and where's it growing fastest?
Biggest market by far is North America, over 37% of the global share, valued at, what was it, over 1.1 billion US dollars in 2025. Steady growth there too.
And why North America? What makes it number one?
It's a mix of things, according to the report. Big aging population needing lots of dental care, high public awareness of oral health, high healthcare spending generally, and pretty decent dental insurance coverage compared to many places.
Makes sense. And the U.S. is the giant within that region.
Yeah, the U.S. market is the largest single country, driven by things like high demand for cosmetic work, alongside just the frequency of dental problems.
Okay, so North America leads in size, but fastest growth. Where's that happening?
Asia Pacific, APAC. It's smaller overall than North America or Europe right now, maybe 24% share, but its projected growth rate is the highest globally, 9.7% CAGR through 2033.
Wow, 9.7%, nearly 10%. That's flying. What's behind that surge in APAC?
It's a convergence, really. Governments pushing healthcare improvements, rising dental problems as lifestyles and diets change, care is often more affordable than in the West, and you've got dental tourism bringing people in.
So need, access, affordability, and travel all playing a part. Which countries are leading the charge there?
China's the biggest market in APAC. By size, lots of urbanization, more awareness. But India has the highest growth rate projected in the region, an incredible 11.6% CAGR.
Over 11%, that's huge.
Yeah, fueled by a growing middle class, more disposable income, and again, rising demand for cosmetic procedures there too.
India's growth really jumps out. What about other regions quickly? Europe.
Europe's a big player too, over 29% share, also driven heavily by its aging population. Growth is solid, but, slower than APAC. Germany's the biggest market there.
And places like South America, Middle East.
Both showing pretty strong growth, actually,
Yeah.
above the global average. Things like improving dental infrastructure, more awareness, demand for cosmetic and restorative work are driving it. Brazil's big in South America, Saudi Arabia in the Middle East.
How about Africa?
Africa is currently the smallest region for this market, and the projected growth rate is lower too, around 3.1%. There are pockets of growth, like South Africa, with investment in facilities and cosmetic demand. But wider economic and infrastructure challenges seem to be limiting the pace compared to other regions.
So that regional picture is really telling. You can almost map healthcare development and economic trends onto it, the established markets versus the rapidly emerging ones.
Absolutely. It shows how factors like aging, wealth, government policy, even cultural trends around aesthetics play out differently across the globe.
Right. Okay, before we wrap, the report touched on the companies involved. Said it's competitive.
Very. It's a mix of big multinationals and smaller, maybe regional specialists.
Yeah.
You see names like 3M, Dentsply Sirona, Invista, which spun off from Danaher Bisco, show you companies like that.
And a couple of specific moves were mentioned.
Yeah, besides the Danaher-Navista split in 2021, they noted Bisco launching Therasum, a self-adhesive resin cement, also back in 2021. And we already mentioned SHOFU's Butylink SA for zirconia this year. It just shows active innovation happening, companies targeting these specific trends we've discussed.
Got it. Okay, let's just quickly recap the main takeaways the report itself emphasized in its conclusion.
Sure. It flags that overall 6.90% CAGR through 2033 strong growth expected. Confirms dental clinics will likely stay the dominant end user, and highlights glass ionomer as the current material leader by share, while pointing out that rapid growth of the resin-modified glass ionomers, the RMGICs.
Okay, so we took this snapshot, this report excerpt, and really dug into the dental cement market. We've seen it's a multi-billion-dollar industry poised for solid growth.
Driven by fundamental needs like fixing teeth, but also shaped by aging populations, new technologies, and the growing desire for cosmetic perfection.
Yeah, and we saw how material science is racing to keep up, especially with things like RMGICs meeting those demands for strength and looks, though cost is still a big hurdle for access.
And the regional differences really highlight where the action is established versus where it's exploding, like in Asia Pacific.
It definitely gives you a much fuller picture of this maybe overlooked but critical piece of the dental world. Connects science, health, economics.
It's all intertwined.
It really is. And thinking about all this, the digital workflows, the push for better, smarter materials like RMGICs, the cosmetic boom, It makes you wonder,
I
right?
wonder what.
Well, so much of cement is about bonding things, restorations to teeth. But with all the advances, what could the dental cement of the, I don't know, the future look like? Could we see materials that don't just stick things together, but maybe actively help the tooth? Like regenerate tissue or fight bacteria in a smarter way? Could they become more than just glue? How might that change dentistry?
That's a fascinating question. Moving beyond passive bonding to active participation in healing or prevention. Definitely something to think about.
Indeed. And that's where we'll wrap up this deep dive on the global dental cement market. Hopefully, this gave you some real insight into the materials holding our smiles together.